Shalom to the 12 tribes. It's your brother Kadar Malak coming back at you with another video, another cold cut through the spirit. Going into the title of this video, right? Warriors of battle formations, etc. So, like a lot of times, Israel, we get into a lot of prophecy, a lot of parables, which are very fruitful things, way fruitful, extremely fruitful. But the Most High also put it on other brothers' spirit and Israelite spirit to get into the historicity of the scriptures, man. You have to get into history, as brothers, as historians, they study various topics week to week. You have a priest office, they do different things and certain things. So everybody has an office or a lot or a gift that the Most High has given them, and the Most High said to stir that gift up. Hey, Peter said, stir that gift up. You know, um, so through the Spirit, we're going to touch on a lot of the wars. We're going to touch on a lot of different things in the scriptures first, and I'm gonna go into, like I said, the geography of it, the maps of it, and go into a lot of the wars. Now, for sake of time, I got about an hour, but at least through the Spirit, I can get something in and something done. Let me share my screen through the Spirit. All right, let's share my screen. I want to get a real quick precept. All right, classic precept, Job 8 and 8. All right, the Most High told us to inquire of the former age. It's the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age. Now, when you go into, again, like the history of the scriptures and the history of life and time, you have different ages. You have the Bronze Age, you have the Iron Age, you have the so-called Stone Age. You have ages where they primarily was learning, so-called humans was learning, a lot of different things with iron, a lot of different things with stone, and all these different things. Okay, so we had to get into the ages: the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, um, plenty of these different things, the so-called dark ages. You have to get into the ages, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. You have to get into these people. Hey, to a degree, you got to search up Esau's forefathers. You got to go into the presidents. You got to go into damn Amalek and go into damn, the damn Nazis and whoever else is going on. You have to get into it, man. You have to get into Hitler. You have to get into World War I, World War II. You have to get into all of the history of the scriptures. What happened during the Dark Ages? What happened during the Age of Renaissance, during the Age of Discovery? How did these wars take place? How did they win the wars? Was it economic warfare? Warfare? Was it because of different things? What happened? Was it a certain formation? How did they win? A lot of these wars, you read, oh, we fail, or oh, they fail. Well, how did they fall? I want to change this layout so I can, because it's a little better zoom in. But how did they fall? How did these nations fall? How did these people fall? How did Babylon take over Moab, Ammon, Esau, Israel, North? He took over all of that. Man, how did that happen? What did they do? You have to get into the history. And the Most High says, inquire of the former age. Now, you got to acquire the former age. Of course, it's plain. But I want to get another one real quick. We're gonna jump into some wars. Deuteronomy 32. So book of Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. You need to consider the genealogy, the generations of many different people, man. We do it all the time. Did not the Most High put the lineage of Yahweh in Matthew 1? And the Most High put it in there. You got to know who he went from, what this person do, what this person do. The Most High deals with lineages, genealogy. He deals with showing us who we go back to. And our forefathers will write books and write things down so we can see it. It says, ask thy father, and he will show thee. You saying to a degree, even so-called, you so-called Judites, primarily Judah, and all tribes, you want to ask your pop some things, man. Ask your family about some things. What happened? What happened to the family there? How did you meet my mom? How did you meet her? How did you meet him? What did that go like? What was the dynamic? What was the split for? Why did y'all not split? Get into what happened, because you wasn't alive. You don't know. When the Most High said man's days at most is 80 years, man. You don't know everything, man. 80 years, man. I mean, that go by like this, you know. So through the spirit, you want to ask your fathers, your forefathers. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. thy elders, and they will tell thee. A lot of times, brothers, again, history goes more than just you pulling a precept or you going into something. You need to know about even what camp you in. Where did your camp start from? Who is your elders? Who did your leader listen to? Who is your leader? What is about him? What does he do? What spirit does he bring? You have to get into history regardless. Okay. So history is always important for Israelite. And then two is what history is a good foundation for faith. Some brothers was atheists, right? Some brothers might have been I don't know, in zoology. I don't know. You know, a brother could have been anything. That history helps with that faith and that foundation with the law for you to stay rooted, man. You know, you gotta have that history. What if a brother pull up to you at camp? A brother did this. What if a brother pull up to you at camp and said the slave ships wasn't real? I don't believe that. He just you can pull Deuteronomy 28 and 60 all you want. But he said, you know, I don't believe in the slave ships. You gotta go to history now. Now you gotta bring out Jesus of Lubeck. Now you gotta go into the ports that was in Ephraim in Puerto Rico. Now you have to go into the slave ports that was over there in the kingdom of Judah and the Gulf of Benin. You have to go into the history. But if you don't know that, then you out of there. You know, Deuteronomy 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 real quick. Just touching on you got to know history, right? Because a lot of times, you know, you can get cut, quote unquote. You get cut. This Deuteronomy 28, it's the milk. You're just trying to bring it out. You're just trying to show it, brother son. What if you pull this? Deuteronomy 28 and 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods wood and stone. What if a Christian pull this? Pull up, say, hold on, you black Hebrews, you black Jew, you black boy. That's what they basically want to call us. And they say, and they say this already got fulfilled. This already got fulfilled. Hold on, you're not the true Jew. You sitting there confounded, trying to figure out who is your king of America. You have to get into the history. You have to go into Zedekiah, Joachim. You have to go into how multiple kings was drugged. It's like it was dragged back to Babylon, man. Dragged to Assyria. Your kings was dragged. So you had to go into the history, ultimately knowing that ultimately the curse is always going to be recurring. And it did happen at one point in time. Yeah, of course. Joachim, that happened to Joachim, Zedekiah, Joachim. Yeah, of course. But that don't mean these curses don't keep reoccurring and happening throughout time. Okay. So all I'm saying is if you don't know that history, you asked out. You know, excuse my, you asked out. You know, you don't know. There's gonna be many accounts they're gonna try to pull. You have to know history. So, you know, that's a part of the so-called Israelite palette. All right. So now I want to touch on Salakia. Now I want to touch on primarily some more of the war, right? So first and foremost, let's look at the strength of the Israelites, right? We see Moses, right, which is Mashah in the Hebrew, right? Meaning drew from the water, right? Which he was drew from the water, Hebrew, a Levite, mighty Israelite, and a king in Jeshurun, right? We see that he still has his strength in old age. So we see through the scriptures the Israelites having their strength throughout old age. Because what is a warrior without a strength? I mean, yeah, you got a bow and arrow, but if you can't pull the bow, how you going? If you can't aim it, I mean, you're not really can do much. Okay, yeah, you got the sharpest sword, but if you don't have the force and attention and the precision and the tenacity to use that, and even the volume, you're not going to do much damage. So you have to see who's wielding the sword, who has the different bows, who has the different things. When you go into you know, I know it's gonna be a lot of points. I'll be having a lot of side points, but when you go into a lot of Northern Kingdom, they was I mean these I think it was Navajo. Hold on, I want to get them pull it up. I think it was the Navajo tribe, but you had Native Americans, man. Hey man, they was on the horse sideway. Let me see if I can pull this up, or it might have been Seminole. I think it was Seminole. Slocky. I think it was Seminole. Let's see if I can try to pull this up, man. Right, get the Seminole. But I'm gonna see if I can try to pull it up another time. But basically, when you go into Gad and Native Americans, but I think it was Navajo or the Seminoles. But they was on the horse sideways, man, shooting the gun sideways, man. They had skills, man. You had to let me see if I can try. I gotta pull this up. Let's see. See if I can pull that up. Let's see if I can pull up some images. At least a source. Um, this man. Hey Google, man. Sometimes you search stuff up, and, it's under a certain wording. They want a certain wording. And who knows? They could have took it down. I mean, they could have took it down. Gonna take it down. But nevertheless, I mean, I can't find this specifically. But nevertheless, you had Gad and Seminole, and they was on the side of the horses, man, shooting the gun. I think I got it on my phone, man. It was on the side of the horse shooting guns sideways, man. That took skill. You had to have strength and a certain level of fortitude. Well, let's go to Joshua 14:11. And as yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now. For war, both to go out and to come in. So through the spirit, hey man, they had power, man. Moses said he had that same strength when he got older, man. Hey, that's a lot of our forefathers, man. And then when you read, when you read about Moses, he wasn't a pushover. Moses wasn't, a weak man. Moses wasn't in folly. Hey, Moses came down from that temple with all the Levites and said, "Let's go to war." Right? Let's get this. This is Exodus 32, and let's start at 23. For they said unto me, make a now for one, Aaron, he was in between a rock and a hard place, and he could have took some more accountability here. Okay, right here. All right, let's read it. It says, Exodus 32 and 21. And Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto thee that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? Right? What are these people doing to you that you bring this sin upon them? And Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Hold on, don't wax hot. Don't slack your out of one. Hold on. Don't get too angry. Thou knowest the people that they are set on mischief. You know these niggas is wicked, man. For they said unto me, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him, right? Which means we don't know. We don't know what the hell is going to happen to Moses. He's up there floating in the mount. We don't know. It's a chariot over the mount. It's angel. He's glowing. What? We don't know what the hell he's doing up there. Hey, make us this God, man. I want to see my God. I want to see the deity. Okay. And I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. Well, hold on now. this is a lack of accountability. What do you mean you cast it into the fire? There came out. How did it come out? Who made it? You don't put gold in some pot and it just come out this calf. No. Somebody had to sculpt it. Yeah, put the horns on there, the tongue, and then it's there, and you worship it, man. So terrible accountability. 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame amongst their enemies, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side? Who is on Yahweh's side? Let them come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. So Levi was on fire right here, man. Levi, through the spirit, it was mighty. All the sons, Merari, Gershom, Kohath, man, all of them went and was with Moses, man. Look what Moses did. And he said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. Hey, man, Moses had a warrior spirit, man. These Levites, don't let them just think, oh, it was just David. He's the only warrior. No, there's plenty of warriors there. You got Levite warriors, Ephraimite warriors, Issacharite warriors, man. Hey, he said, man, slay all these guys, man. They're an idolatry. And they all got to die. Certain sins, you got to just kill them. They got to get off the earth because it's going to corrupt the fruit and the new fruit and the good fruit, the seeds that's going to come out. Okay. It says, verse 29, for Moses has said, consecrate yourselves today to the Lord, even every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. Right? So, nevertheless, even through all that, the Lord still, put the spirit on Moses to make atonement. But look at that spirit, man. Right? That's a warrior spirit. What I mean, do you think he went to war with his damn fist? Moses was unarmed. Any true warrior, you can't go to war with just unarmed. Now, of course, you want to know these things, but truly you need a weapon. Humans were made to have weapons. Until we get that spiritual power, that angelic power, that new body, that more spirit, and a little bit of physical flesh body, a body like how it shot Philippians 3 and 21. Hey, you need weapons. You need weapons. You need weapons. You need weapons. So through the spirit, look at that spirit of Moses, man. He was a warrior. He was a warrior through the spirit. You think Moses was just sitting on his ass? He's just he had to handle business. He had to handle business. Let's go get Deuteronomy 34 and 7. So book of Deuteronomy chapter 34 and verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, right? Meaning he can still see. Moses at 120 years old, he still could see. His eyes wasn't dim. He didn't, you get older, they wear glasses, you got damn cataract problems. Hey, Moses didn't have that issue. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. So he didn't lose any of his strength. Think about how mighty that was. You didn't lose any of your strength. 120. Jake, you turned 50. You can't even lift a damn tire no more. You can't even get on your knees. My back. As soon as you get up underneath a damn sink, man, can't even take it. You got some Jakes, man. I can't even take it to trash, man. Taking it. Oh, my toe hurt. Hey, Moses had his strength at 120, man. Right? And even let's get another mighty forefather, another mighty forefather, right? Caleb, right, which is Caleb. Caleb had that same beautiful blessing through the spirit. To be that strong, you know what I'm saying? At that old age. Let's get that. Sirach 46. Sirach 46 and verse 7. In the time of Moses also, he did a work of mercy, he and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and that they withstood the congregation and withheld the people from sin and appeased the wicked murmur. So Israel's wicked. Flat up now, shut up now. It's wicked. But you need leaders that appease the wicked murmur, that withhold the people from sin and deal with you. Okay? Jumping down. I'll keep reading. And of 600,000 people on foot, they too were preserved to bring them into the heritage, even to the land that flowed with milk and honey. The Lord gave strength also unto Caleb, which remained with him in his own age, so that he entered upon the high places of the land, and his seed obtained it for inheritance. So Caleb had that strength at an old age, man. So through the spirit, we had a lot of strength. And I got some videos I want to pull up. I got some videos, but I want to get this hot word, get this hot and ready word first. So let's get and this Edomite is going to touch on that. But let's get another mighty war. So we have a war in Judges, the 3rd chapter. Okay, we have a mighty war. We have a mighty man called Gideon. Now Gideon, most people, they skip over Judges. They get straight to David. They don't got the Apocrypha. They skip over Judas Maccabeus. But you got to get into what happened with Gideon, man. Gideon led a massive uprising and uproar over the damn, I think it was Ammonites, man. This is I want another one too. I'm gonna get Shaq Mark first. But this is a book Judges chapter 3. And let's start at 31. And after him was Shagmar, the son of Anath, which slew of the Philistines 600 men with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. Now, 600 men died right? With an ox goad. Now, when you go into the ox goad, it is not a sword. It is a this wasn't really used for weaponry. This is ox goad right here. See that? See, this is a short little hook on the end. Okay, okay. Shagmar not gold. All right, that's. I mean, and that's the best, and that's like a pretty good one, pretty good one. So the Most High put his spirit on this man, right? This mighty, mighty man. That he slew 600 men with an ox goad, man. These Philistines. Philistines are tall, dark, no hair having Hamites, man. Who through the spirit, hey, they had a lot of strength. They had a lot of strength. I'm not gonna lie to you. They was tall. Goliath was around 6'9" plus 9 foot. Some sources say 9 feet, But through the spirit, they was tall. They was tall and they was strong. They had 6 toes, 6 fingers. They said that in numbers, man. So these aren't just weaklings now, but he killed all 600 of them, man. And we don't know what really what happened. We can only imagine. I can read the precept, but we don't know how that went down. Maybe he took out 10, 10, 10, 20, 20, 20, 30. I mean, we don't know how that really went. Look at your forefathers. They wasn't weaklings, man. You sitting at home drinking coffee, cracking your toes. Don't even want to go to damn camp. You ain't got to fight 600 men with an ox goad, right? So war is very, very weird, real. Very real, very, very serious, and it's you got to pay your respects to your forefathers for what they did. Um, so let's get some mighty men. All right, let's get Second Samuel. Let's get Second Samuel, right? So when we go into the time of Samuel, okay, we have some of David's men. Let's get Second Samuel 2. Okay, we got David's men. Now, that's not even David. It's not even the big dog. This is David's men. This is Second Samuel chapter 2, and let's start at 15. Let's start at 12, actually. Get the context. And Abner, the son of Ner, and the servants of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon. So they're in the same area, by the pool of Gibeon. And they sat down, the one on the side of the pool and the other on the side of the pool. Right. So they're seeing them on both sides. And Abner said to Joab, let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, let them arise. So now, again, that's not literally saying let them play. He's saying let the young men go to war first. Let them fight. Then there arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertained to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. So it was a 12v12. Okay. Now, and they caught every one his fellow by the head and thrust his sword in his fellow's side, so they fell down together. Wherefore that place was called Helkath Hazazurium, which is in Gibeon. And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten and a man of Israel before the service of David. So that's also truly the spirit, like I said, 2 Samuel 1, and the house of David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. Right? And there were 3 sons there right there. Joab, Abishai. Now I want to go down. 31. So this is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 31. But the servants of David had smitten Benjamin and of Abner's men, so that 303 score men died. Now it was a whole battle going on. There was a whole battle. A lot of things happened. But 303 score men died, which is 360. 360 through the spirit, man. So, a lot of things happen. A lot of those men died. Hey, warriors, they put in work. They put in work. Let me get another intercut one. That's 1 Samuel chapter 14. 1 Samuel chapter 14 and verse 13. It's like, hold on. And verse 13. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and up upon his feet, and his armor bearer after him. And they fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer slew after him. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men, within as it were in half an acre of land, which a yoke of oxen might plow. So it was a small area, man. It was a 2v20. Jonathan and his armor bearer, and he put these guys to flight, man. Put them to flight. It says, and they were trembling in the host in the field and among all the people, the garrison and the spoilers, they also trembled, and the earth quaked. So it was a very great trembling, man. So it was a lot of things going on, a lot of things happening. But Jonathan, his armor bearer, put 20 men to death, man. He put them to death. Now, I want to go back to our forefather Gideon, right? In Judges, the 7th chapter, right? So Gideon led an amazing uproar, right? He led an amazing uproar. Let's get into the battle, right? So let's go to Judges 7 and let's start at Slakia 15. It says, and it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel and said, arise, for the Lord have delivered into your hand the host of Midian. So it was Midianites, right, Salakia? He divided the 300 men into 3 companies. So it's 100 apiece, right? 3 companies, 3 different platoons, whatever you want to call it, right? And he put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. And he said unto them, look on me and do of likewise. And behold, when I come to outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do. So he's ordering up his army, right? As a general, you got to be confident. You got to be fearless. Hey, Gideon is about to go against hundreds and thousands of Midianites right here. And even when you go into it, I don't want to read the whole account, but Gideon asked for multiple signs for the Lord to show him that he was with him. And Lord, show me you're gonna help me win this war. Again, that was the spirit of the Israelites too. You would, before you go to war, this is a prideful jackass. You would ask the Most High. If he was in the spirit, you would ask the Lord, hey Lord, please show me, am I gonna win this battle? The Lord did that. I mean, even with Ahab and Jehoshaphat in Second Kings, man. Right? They started asking, they went and inquired the Lord. The false prophet said something false, but through the spirit, it's like it was a lying spirit in the prophet's mouth. But then, next thing they was inquiring though. That shows the energy. You don't just go up and just go to war presumptuously, because you don't know how the Most High's going to handle that battle, and you want to save people's lives. So it says, so Gideon and 300 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch, and they had newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and break the pitchers that were in their hands. Now I want to jump down. I don't want to read this whole account. Right? Let's go down. 25. It says, and they took 2 princes of the Midianites, the Midianites, Oreb and Zeeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. Now I want to go to the 8th chapter. So we got to see the number. So you got 300 men, right? 300 men, right? A remnant, right? A remnant. Now let's see how many died. How many fell on the other side? This is the book of Judges, chapter 8 and verse 10. Now Zabah and Zalmunna were in Kakor, and their hosts with them, about 15,000 men, and all that were left of all the hosts of the children of the east. For there fell 120,000 men that drew the sword. Look at this, man. 300 men put to flight 120,000, man. Right? Through the spirit, 120,000. For there fell 120,000 men that drew the sword, man. So Gideon, again, he might not have the most clout. He might not be the most popular brother. Hey, but he was crazy mighty. Crazy mighty. We don't know how that went down. I can't see. I can't show you the visuals. I can't, I'm led to believe the Lord in the kingdom. We're gonna be able to build some technology that we're gonna be able to see different things like that. I don't know how it's gonna go down. Yes, that's my mortal man opinion. But through the spirit, the Lord I said, 1 Corinthians 2 and 9, we're gonna see things that we never seen before. Greatly paraphrasing. You don't know what the Lord has preserved for his elect, man. We might be able to see that thing on the screen, man, make something happen, man. I want to see that. I want to see these 120,000 Midianites dead, man. How did it happen? What happened with Oreb and Zeb, whatever you want to call his name. How did that happen, man? Right? How did that happen? What did they do? Did they have certain arrows? Was they scared? We don't know. Now, a lot of times through the spirit, the Most High put the spirit on our forefathers, and they got real afraid. That's what it was. They got real afraid. The nations would get very, very fearful, and that was just causing them to lose. The Most High even said that in Deuteronomy the 20th chapter, man. If you're fearful, take your ass home, man. It's like coming to camp. You come to camp. Oh, I might get confounded. I know what I'm gonna do. Who's gonna teach it? What if he pulls this out? I'm not studied in this. You gotta have a certain level of confidence, man. Right? Let's read this. This Exodus, it's like it, Deuteronomy 20. Um, and let's start really with two. And it shall be when you are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, you approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and doeth not tremble, neither be you terrified because of them. And you gotta be willing to lay your life on the line, man. You gotta be willing to lay your life on the line. If you was a warrior, the most, you know, the most I'm not seeing that. You're fighting for his people. This is a very, that's why Esau and his army, you got Veterans Day, right? You got veterans, they get glory and praise for just putting their life on the line, man. The Most High loves a mighty, a humble, God-fearing warrior, man. Look at David. Look at Saul before the fall. Look at all the judges. Look at Joshua. Look at Moses. The Most High is dealing with, and the Most High said, I'm a man of war. And well, we said, you know, he's a man of war. Exodus 15:3, man. And Most High is Yahweh is a man of war. Plain, you know. So through the spirit, the Lord is dealing with war, spiritual warfare. You fighting the versus the spirit, and you overtaking it, and you getting the glory and the spoils of the fruitfulness and the riches of His glory and His great grace, man. You just destroying the spirit. You fighting and overcoming something. You finally beat it. You lose a little bit, then you come back. And the Most High loves war. Look at the dynamic of war. War is in everything, man. You have war conflict constantly in everything, you know. So through the spirit, man, the Most High is dealing with war, you know, and he's dealing with war, and he's telling these people, the priest will have to tell them, hey, if you're scared, man, hey, don't be scared. The Most High is with you. Okay. Now let's go down to 8. And the officer shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. And again, that's a sickness. Imagine you getting ready to get into a fight. You're about to fight a couple people, and your homie, I don't know if we can take him. I think we should just go. I don't know how we're gonna make it. I don't know how we might die here. I might not ever see my children again. What am I supposed to do? What do I do? What do I do? Hold on, brother. You gonna put that spirit on the whole damn army, man. Everybody start thinking, yeah, they do got chariots of iron. Yeah, yeah. How the hell we supposed to beat chariots of iron? What the hell is that? I didn't even see it. Are you seeing it? Yeah, you see iron? Yeah, that's just strong. It's way stronger than bronze. Our sword's gonna fall. How we gonna use the bronze sword against iron? Yeah, man, breastplates and you gonna start thinking, and really, there's really a spirit of overthinking as well, you know, which is off. Overthinking can be used incorrectly. So through the spirit, the most I said, take your ass home. Right, take your ass home if you're scared. So you might had to have, you know, a certain, again, like a level of confidence, a righteous confidence, and that's why you ask and pray to the Lord for confidence and confirmation that you was going to win this battle. David did that plenty of time, right? And we can let's give you another one, right? Let's get what's that? First Samuel through the Spirit. First Samuel, I think it's 30. Right, you had a lot of different things that was going on. This is First Samuel chapter 30. Let's start at 1. And came to pass when David and his men will come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites, the damn devils, right, who Saul went off, he was supposed to kill all these damn Amalekites, man, in the first place. But the most, you know, he had to have things had to happen. But he was supposed to kill a lot of these Amalekites, man. Um, he invaded the south. They invaded the south and Ziklag and smitten Ziklag and burnt it with fire. So they came at him from the south. Now let's get into a little bit of geography, right? Right, you under here. Let's get into this. Get into the maps. What the hell? Man, let's just be pulling up dumb stuff. Pulling up dumb stuff. But anyways, When you get into the maps, man, I want to get some. This is this better? It's really big, but through the spirit, right? When you get more and more, that's a lot for Simeon, by the way. But when you get like right here, yeah, it said right here. You see Edom right here? Well, you got to get into the geopolitics, you got to get into the war, you got to get into these things, you know. But you got Edom right here, you got Moab right here. So you had and it had Ammon up here. So Edom came from the south. They came from the south and they went up to Zilklag right here. Okay, so they started attacking them in the south. Now you know David through the spirit, he's getting out of Benjamin, he's getting out of these areas. You know, he started reigning in Hebron. He was in Judah, right, for 7 years. So through the spirit, right, he was there, and then these damn red Amalekites came out of nowhere and started attacking from the south. And you know, you got the Philistines. We was at war with them all the damn time. You had these damn other Canaanites and Hamites, and you had a lot of things going on. So when they hit them hard, man. They hit them. It wasn't like, oh yeah, the regular Edomites. No, Amalek came. They invaded the south. They burnt it with fire, man. They burnt the damn city up and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So, you know, they said, you know what? We're going to capture these Negroes. We're going to capture these Judites. We're going to capture these Southern Kingdom Israelites. We're going to take your women. We're going to take all your spoils. Hey, this is essentially you getting damn robbed. You know, you got robbed, man. Hey, women were possessions, man. They were valuable possessions, the top valuable possession. You had gold, you had cattle, you had people's children. Hey, man, they just took them. You know, that was a big thing that vexed David. Now look, let's see what happened. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burnt with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. So everybody was taken captives. And David and the people that were with them lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. So they was mourning. It was mourning, crying out. And David's two wives were taken captives, and Ahom the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him. And they said, we might have to kill this nigga. And my wife is gone. I'm sitting there following this guy. What the hell is it might have been plenty of different murmurs. We don't know what happened. You wasn't there. Now we can see what primarily was there, but you don't know what exactly happened. Probably was people murmuring in the crowd. This nigga's off. This nigga's wicked. He's not even king yet. What the hell is wrong? Man, they probably was talking crazy, man. Jake, you know, like they always say, man, you want to see how somebody treats you when they're mad. Why you treat, you got to watch that, man. Brother love you. He kiss your damn toes. No, not literally. But he kiss your hand, like it said in the scriptures. He begs you, he bows to you. But if he get angry, you're the wickedest Negro in the world. And you want to watch people like that. They get angry and they throw everything out the window. That's called a lack of emotional control, man. Right? And integrity. But through the spirit, so they say, hey man, we about to stone David. We about to kill him. Get him out of here. They was all grieved. Every man for his sons and for his daughters, but David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. So again, this is a great account too of a war general. Right? Things happen. Ambushes happen, man. Things happen. Casualties you didn't calculate. Formations, platoons that fell. Flanks that didn't go together. Hey man, things happen. But as a general, you got to be strong and you got to have a good, logical, and it's a balance of spiritual way of handling things. Like through the spirit, the prophets, like, let's say Jeremiah. Jeremiah didn't have to deal with this. Now, Jeremiah had his own life as a way of prophet. But as a king, as a general, hey man, he had to deal with them about to stone him, man. Because they just lost their daughters. What do you do? What do you do when everybody's calling on you, man? What are we going to do? What are we going to do there? What are we supposed to do? The what? What are we supposed to do? That's what they told him. But he encouraged himself in the Lord is God. Now, it don't say what he did. We don't know. The Most High, he might have prayed. The Most High might have just put the spirit on him. He might have just snapped and got it through. We don't know. But all we know is he encouraged himself. And what did he do? What is the thing he did? This is why David and First, Second Samuel is like top 3 for my favorite books, man. All of the Book of Kings in the Septuagint. When you see in the Septuagint, it calls First, Second Samuel and First, Second Kings. It calls them all kings, so it's called the Book of Kings. First and Second Kings, Third and Fourth Kings. So all of those is one of my favorites. Revelation is one of my favorites. Genesis and Sirach is one of my favorites, man. Those are my top like 4. So through the Spirit, man, it's so amazing about David because he had a great balance, bro. He had a great balance. But you don't think David had formations in order and platoons and bows and archers? He had all of that set up. But look what he did. Somehow he encouraged himself. Somehow he made it work. He got his shit together. He figured it out. He mourned. And guess what? What did he say? David said to Abiathar the priest, Amalek's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. Now, David's not a Levite. Why did he say, bring me the ephod? Why? Because on the ephod, you have the Urim and the Thummim. Right, let's pull that up. You got to pull that up for Jake. You got to show him the Urim. What is it? What is that? What is the Urim and the Thummim? What the hell is that? Right. So through the Spirit, right, the Urim and the Thummim, you read about that in the law. I want to zoom in. Is this sharing? This is just shit at. So you want to zoom in, but on the sides of so this is the breastplate of judgment, and this is the ephod, right? But on the sides of the cords, just changed right here. You will have the Urim and the Thummim, okay? And the Urim and the Thummim was essentially a direct contact to the Most High, right? And then one of the stones will light up for yes or for no, and it would glow in the Israelites, the Levites, really the high priest, his breastplate of judgment through the Spirit. So Most High, hey David, he put that Spirit on David. Hey, David said, bring me hither the ephod, man. I want a direct answer. I need to directly go to the Most High. It says, and David inquired at the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? Hey, Lord, should I follow them? Should I overtake them? What if we look? Because overthinking can't happen. It's blood being shed. Bro, war is not just a little thing, man. Sisters might downplay, he shoots guns, yeah. No. War is extremely serious. It's a lot of things that can happen. You have to have your mind sound and set. So through the Spirit, man, he asked the Lord. He needed confirmation. I don't want to overthink. I don't want to Hey, Lord, hey, am I supposed to do this? Am I going to overtake them? And what did the Lord say? And he answered and pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail, no error, no percentage. Esau deals with odds, 3,000 versus 5,000. Hey, without fail, you're going to recover all, man. Now I'm not going to read this whole account, but him and 400 men, they took everything back. And the Most High wrought a great victory in Israel right there, okay? So that's just a couple of accounts. Now I want to get into some videos. Now through the Spirit. I want to get into this video, right? Hold on. Oh, Salaki, it wasn't sharing. But let's get this real quick, man. Let's get this. I want to get into this. I want to say, this is for fair use. Hold on, Esau. Right. This is for fair use. Okay, fair use. So this is going into the early Israelite warriors and a lot of the things that they had during this is primarily like the Bronze Age, but it's going to touch on a lot of good stuff. Okay, weapons and equipment. It's going to touch on some of the gear, the military appearance, the methods of warfare, etc. So I wanted to pull this out because through the Spirit, it's endless accounts. It's endless accounts. You got accounts about Simon with 3,000 men killing 100,000 men. You have Joshua fighting and the sun is being stopping. That's been stopped. You have mighty men with David in 2 Samuel the 23rd chapter. You got Samson. He killed 1,000 men with the jawbone. You have angels that fought with Judas Maccabee. There's plenty of things I want to get into, but I want to show this video for fair use that we can get into some of so-called Esau's historians, right, and see what they got to bring to the table. So let's share this tab. All right, and Lord willing, Israel can hear this, right? So let's get this in here. Got to get into the history, man. Must.
Spanning early Israelite warrior. The early Iron Age, spanning roughly 1200 to 1000 BC, marks a formative but often overlooked chapter in the history of Israelite warfare. This period, broadly corresponding to the era of the Judges, saw the Israelites organized not as a centralized polity, but as a loose confederation of tribes. Political authority was localized, fragmented, and temporary. The lack of a standing army or formalized military institutions meant that warfare, when it occurred, was largely reactive and episodic. It was shaped less by long-term strategic planning and more by immediate threats, internal disputes, and opportunistic conflicts with neighboring groups. During this era,
So basically, Esau is saying that it wasn't just happening strategic, which is not 100% true. A lot of times it was definitely strategic. When you read about David, read about Solomon, read all in the Book of Kings. But that's why I said it's on the age. It depends on the age. He's talking about very, very, very early ages.
leadership in times of conflict emerged through charismatic figures rather than institutional structures. Individuals like Gideon, Jephthah, Samson, and Deborah were recognized for their prowess, religious inspiration, or ability to rally disparate tribal groups against a common enemy. However, their authority was neither hereditary nor bureaucratic. It was contingent upon personal success and divine favor, as understood within the religious worldview of the time. Militias were formed through personal networks of kinship and allegiance rather than through conscription or permanent military service. Warriors were typically farmers, herders, and artisans, taking up arms only when necessity demanded.
All right, so through the spirit, you had a lot of farmers and things of that sort. Now, even when you go into David, he was a mighty warrior, but he was a shepherd. He was a shepherd. He was a shepherd. The Most High made a shepherd and turned him into a warrior. Right, and I even want to get that real quick. The Most High put the spirit on David, man. He was wrestling with bears, man. He was wrestling with bears as a youth, man. Let's get 1 Samuel the 17th chapter, man. This guy was different. It's 1 Samuel 17 and start at 34. And David said let's start at 33. It says, and Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he's a man of war from his youth. So he said, hey, man, this guy got experience. He knows what he's doing. Hey, but he said, hey, well, hold on now. Hey, what did David say? And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, both, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Hold up. Who can say that, man? Yeah, I saw a bear trying to eat my sheep. I ran up on him. Hey, you got, I don't want to turn to folly, man. But you got this Jake, man, named 4 Extra, man. This Jake from California, from Cali. He said, he said in prison they fight. They said, go straight to the back. Boom, bow, run straight up, right up on me. Right up on him, man. Hey, David run right up on him. Right up on him, caught him by his hair, and slew him, man. We don't know how that. Now, again, we can't physically say how it went down. I don't know. Did he do a drop kick? Did he do a spin kick? I don't know what he did. But it say he caught him, he grabbed him by his beard, and he slew him. He smote him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear at the same time. Now, when you read when you get into the Apocrypha, it says the lion and the bear are the top 2 most strongest animals. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he had defied the armies of the living God. Look at that confidence. Look at that faith, man. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. He said, you know what? Hey, go. Let's see. Let's see. He's talking a good game, but let's see what he can do. Now, through the spirit, David backed up what he was saying. Right? He backed up what he was saying. There's so many things I want to get, man. Because you got to even get into the videos, man. You got to get into what time? 7:35. But when you get into it, man, you have deadly slingshots, man. You got a lot of slingshots. It wasn't I thought something else happened, man. But when you go into the slingshots, man, they were very dangerous weapons. They wasn't just run of the mill things. A slingshot was a very serious weapon. Or you could spin. That's why I want to pull up the video. But for sake of time, I'm gonna keep this pushing. Let's skip this. All right. Let's talk about that. You got a damn ad. All right, got ads in the last days. We got ads.
And equipment. Material evidence, biblical accounts, and comparative studies with neighboring cultures suggest that early Israelite warriors operated at a significant technological disadvantage, particularly in the domain of metallurgy. The Philistines, established along the coastal plains, maintained a critical advantage through their control of iron production and working. This technological disparity is explicitly noted in the biblical narrative of 1 Samuel 13:19 through 22, which describes how the Israelites lacked blacksmiths and were dependent upon the Philistines even for agricultural tool maintenance. As a consequence, most early Israelite weaponry consisted of bronze implements, repurposed farming tools, and natural materials such as stone and wood. True bronze swords and daggers were relatively rare and likely limited to wealthier individuals or tribal leaders. More commonly, combatants adapted agricultural implements, tools designed for daily survival, into lethal weapons. Mattocks, sickles, and ox goads became standard fare for many Israelite warriors. The story of Shamgar in Judges 3:31, who reportedly struck down 600 Philistines with an ox goad, while certainly stylized, reflects the practical realities of the time. Necessity bred improvisation.
I want to pull something up to see. I read that. Y'all read that. Now I read that how the mighty brother Shagmar did that. Now I want to pull this up because I feel like you got to damn search stuff up. Sometimes on your phone it kind of helps it. I want to share this tab, but I want to and if it don't pop up, I'm gonna just do the real old school way and put it to the camera. But I want to pull this up and show y'all this slingshot. What the hell's going on? Showing the slingshot. So let's put. Wait a minute, Esau. Hold on, slow down. Can I go back? Okay, I can't go back.
Dude was a
Fair
seemingly
use.
naive kid with the equivalent of a toy slingshot, supernaturally used by God to devastating effect. But as you can see from these clips from YouTubers Dash Rindar and Mike Shake, these slings weren't mere toys. These were serious weapons. In fact, Mike Shake did this on his first day toying with the sling. Hannibal the Great, the Carthaginian general known for nearly bringing Rome to its knees in the Second Punic War, employed 2,000 slingers in his army. One of Rome's leading generals was severely wounded by a slinger in the Battle of Cannae, which contributed to his death. So David killed Goliath with a ranged weapon used professionally by militaries across the Bronze and Iron Ages and into classical antiquity even. Well, if that's the case, then what's the point of the story even? Like, you might be wondering, okay, David killed Goliath with a common weapon of the time. Big deal. What's the takeaway then? I'd argue the takeaway from the story of David and Goliath isn't simply that God will miraculously intercede and slay your giants for you, but rather, and this is so important, that God has ordained the mundane in your life to properly equip you for current and future tasks that will require faithful collaboration with him. Think about it. David spent many years as a shepherd. Like, this was basically like the minimum wage, like, job nobody wants. He became proficient with the sling out of necessity with this, though. He used it to fend off predators that would want to make lunch of his lambs. So think Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. What had been mundane.
Well, anyways, Esau, right? We appreciate that, man. We appreciate that, Esau. Now, with that being said, so yeah, you had a slingshot. That wasn't just a regular weapon. When you had a slingshot, that was a big deal. It's a big weapon,
For ranged combat, slings were the most widespread and effective weapon available. Simple to manufacture and requiring only stones or hardened clay projectiles, slings were accessible to all and highly effective in skilled hands. In close terrain or defensive situations, slingers could harass and disrupt enemy formations without the need for expensive or difficult to maintain armaments. Bows also existed, but they appear less prominently in early accounts, and archaeological evidence suggests that their use may have been relatively limited compared to other Near Eastern cultures of the same period. Arrows, when used, typically bore flint or bronze heads, again reflecting the constraints imposed by limited access to iron. Improvised weaponry should not be interpreted as a sign of primitiveness. Rather, it reflects a resourceful adaptation to material scarcity and an ability to transform everyday tools into effective instruments of war. These adaptations were functional, durable, and suited to the kinds of warfare the Israelites most often faced: skirmishes, raids, and defensive actions, rather than prolonged field engagements. Defensive equipment and armor.
Okay, so I want to go back to this one more time. So it showed the slings was a big deal. You know, the slings was a big deal. Even Benjamin had the slings, you know. I want to share this again and go back to this. All right, dealing with the slingshot, man. The sling, look at this guy. All right, slingshot. Hey, man, things happen, man.
The point where he can break the sound barrier. Whether he's throwing a controller or a simple stone, it packs more punch than a gun. And guess what? He's even found a new way to play football with his friends. But wait, there's more. If you think breaking the sound barrier or tossing a shield like Captain America is impressive, just wait until you see him unleash 100% of his power.
Fair use.
Are you willing to dedicate yourself to mastering this skill? This guy is
No.
called Real Life David.
All right, real life David. But hey, man, you know, hey, them slings. So let me see if I gotta go back and sharing this real quick. Hey, man, but them slings was a big deal, man. Hey, bro. Hey, man, I used to get damn rock swinging all that damn. Hey, man, it's gonna get hot. It's gonna get hot, man. You're gonna have a massive headache.
Protective gear among early Israelite warriors was minimal, constrained both by technological limitations and the decentralized, militia-based nature of their forces. The average combatant would have entered battle wearing a simple linen or woolen tunic. Belts were used to secure small weapons, carry pouches of sling stones, or gird the garment for greater mobility during combat. Footwear likely consisted of basic sandals, though many may have fought barefoot depending on conditions and personal circumstances.
Mhm.
Shields were employed but were typically small and constructed from organic materials, wooden frames covered with stretched leather. These shields provided some defense against projectiles and blows, but would have been insufficient against more sophisticated weaponry, such as iron-tipped spears or arrows. The size and construction of these shields suggest a focus on mobility rather than static defense. Helmets, where they existed, were likely simple constructions of hardened leather rather than metal. Metal helmets, whether of bronze or iron, were expensive, required specialized craftsmanship, and are unlikely to have been widely available outside of the wealthiest or most important warriors. Body armor was even rarer. Scale armor, a technology involving the sewing of metal scales onto a cloth or leather backing, was likely unknown among the early Israelites at the common soldier level. The biblical description of Goliath in 1 Samuel 17, who is depicted as wearing an elaborate coat of mail, is presented not as typical, but as extraordinary and foreign. His heavily armored appearance would have been an imposing and unfamiliar sight to early Israelite fighters, emphasizing the asymmetry of military technology between them and their better-equipped adversaries.
And you gotta understand this, man. The Most High said we above all people. Imagine the Most High put the Spirit on us, and we had all that, man. Imagine, just imagine us with sheet metal, all these perfect weapons, man. And that's so you told the Most High really was looking out for us, man. The Most High was showing the way and paving the way.
Appearance and military identity. In visual terms, the early Israelite warrior would have been virtually indistinguishable from the average agrarian worker. Bearded, dressed in simple tunics, and armed with improvised or basic weapons, these fighters presented no standardized appearance. There were no formal uniforms, military insignia, or regulated dress codes to distinguish combatants from civilians. Warfare was understood as a temporary obligation, deeply tied to household and clan responsibilities, rather than to a distinct military profession. This lack of uniformity reflected the broader social structure of the Israelite tribes.
Work today.
I got damn ass. So yeah, it's basically saying, in the early time, in the time of Judges, it wasn't all the way orchestrated, which Can be very argued because I mean, even when you think about when we moved into Exodus, it was different. You know, it was three on each side. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely structured.
Kinship and tribal loyalty served as the primary organizing principles, and military efforts were often extensions of familial or intertribal disputes. Warriors fought alongside relatives and neighbors, and group identity was maintained more by social bonds than by any external markers of rank or affiliation. The contrast with neighboring cultures, such as the Egyptians or Assyrians, who fielded standing armies with distinct units and visual markers of rank, is significant. Early Israelite warfare was personal, localized, and community-driven, characteristics that shaped not only how battles were fought, but also how warriors perceived themselves and their role within society.
Right. So we didn't went over their, you know, their appearance. We went over, you know, their protective gear, some of their weapons. Now let's get into these last two segments. Really just the last segment.
Methods of warfare. Given their organizational structure, technological limitations, and material constraints, it is not surprising that early Israelite warfare emphasized flexibility, speed, and familiarity with the terrain. Conventional set-piece battles were rare, and, when they occurred, often involved limited numbers of combatants. Instead, early Israelite tactics favored ambushes, raids, and defensive actions, leveraging the advantages of local knowledge and mobility.
And through the spirit, that you know, it's happened. You know, Joshua led an ambush. You know, we you know, they even called us right through the scriptures. They said, we the gods, God of the hills. He said their God is the God of the hills. Let's pull that up. First Kings 20 and 28. Yeah, it's the book of First Kings. I'm gonna share this in a second. It's Bible Hub. First Kings 20 and 28, and I'm gonna get the KJV first. And there came a man of God and spake unto the king of Israel, and said, Thus saith the Lord God, because the Syrians have said, Yahweh is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys, which is madness. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand, and he shall know that I am the Lord. Amen. So the Most High, it's like we got. So the Most High say, man, they talking crazy about me, and y'all go to war. I'm gonna do this just to show him the God of the valley, and he's not the. What? Why are we lowering the Most High God? Oh, he's the God of the valleys. So he's not the God of the rivers. He's the God of the oceans, not the river. There's confusion, man. The Most High is over everything. So, you know, through the spirit, right? That's what they called us. Now, why did they say that? Because we had a crazy, crazy defense system, man. Jerusalem is a very mountainous terrain, man. You got to look and see. You got to get into war, man. You got to get into it. You got to get into how heavy the. I'm a you know, try to do a couple of parts on this. You know, some people don't like history. Some people get bored. Some people take a nap, hold on, to hurry up. You know, even people do that in school. But me, you know, I was into that. I was into the history. But nevertheless, let's go back to the video.
Natural tactic for lightly equipped forces operating in rugged or broken terrain. The campaign of Gideon against the Midianites, as described in Judges 7, exemplifies the use of surprise and psychological disruption. With a small, highly motivated force, Gideon achieved a decisive victory by exploiting confusion and fear among a numerically superior enemy. Raiding, both as a form of preemptive defense and economic survival, was common. Tribes would conduct raids against enemy settlements, livestock, and resources, weakening opponents without engaging in costly open battles. These raids were often conducted quickly, with warriors striking vulnerable targets and retreating before a coordinated response could be mounted. Defensive warfare focused on protecting settlements, key water sources, and agricultural land. Fortified sites, though relatively small, played an important role. Basic defensive structures, stone walls, gates, and towers, provided refuge during enemy attacks and served as focal points for local defense efforts. However, these fortifications were modest compared to the large, heavily fortified cities of the Canaanites or Philistines. When conventional battles did occur, they were typically fought on a small scale and in geographically constrained areas such as narrow valleys or hilltops. Terrain often dictated the tactics employed, and early Israelite commanders demonstrated considerable adaptability in using the environment to offset technological disadvantages.
So again, that's what I was going into. You know, it was a lot of different things. They try to say he's not dealing with the valleys; he's only up the hill. When you on a big ass hill, man, and you got bows and arrows, I mean, it's gonna be hard to take that tower unless your shields are very good. But you know what you do? You get stronger and different type of materials on the heads of your arrows, man. All right, today, today you got damn crossbow. Let's look up crossbow. Let's just look at it. All right, here are your modern crossbow arrow tips, man. Hey man, this stuff right here, man. Salakia. This stuff right here will pierce you, man. Look at this, man. Look at this. So, man, today's weaponry, man, is crazy. It's crazy. Crazy weaponry, bro. You know, I mean, this hit your chest, man. No armor. You're cooked. You know. So we got steel on the earth now. We have iron on the earth now. Steel is essentially, I think it's a little bit of an alloy put on the iron. So it strengthens it more. But yeah, man, you got a lot of different stuff, man. Arrowheads typically weigh 90 to 125 grains. Well, hey man, gotta get into war. How these things work, what these arrowheads do, these things were serious, man. So essentially you get different type of arrows, right? Which Esau turned to the bullet system, bullets and damn hollow tips and hollow points and all of that. But let's go back to this.
Direct engagements would focus on breaking enemy morale quickly, rather than engaging in prolonged or attritional fighting.
Again, because the Mosai literally said he took us out of nothing. The Mosai said he essentially brung us from nothing. The Mosai literally said in Deuteronomy, he said, hey, I didn't love you just because you was the coolest nation. He said, hey, man, you're the youngest out of all the nations, man. I just did this because I loved you. I just loved my people. Without our God, we're shit. Israel it's cooked. If we don't have the Most High on our side, you're cooked. The Most High made us this people. We are nothing without Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. We are nothing without the grace and strength and truth in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right? Nothing without him. Nothing. Right?
Conclusion. The early period of Israelite warfare thus reveals a system of conflict shaped more by necessity than by grand design. Tribal organization, technological constraints, and localized threats fostered a style of warfare that emphasized improvisation, personal valor, and adaptability. While limited in their ability to wage extended campaigns or challenge more organized enemies head-on, the Israelites of the Judges period developed practical skills in guerrilla tactics.
Again, that's the point too. So I want Israel to understand this. Don't think this is talking about all the Israelites of all time. This is talking about during the time of Judges. Just from a historian, carnal level of Judges.
Raiding and defensive warfare that would lay important foundations for later developments. As Israelite society moved toward greater centralization under the institution of kingship, particularly during the reigns of Saul and David, these early experiences in decentralized warfare would inform, but also be transformed by, the emergence of a more structured and professional military apparatus.
Yeah, so through the spirit, man, I'm gonna try to keep going into this history, man. Through the spirit, this is a good video. Some, these Edomites, the Most High said, a little peaceable all, man. You got to get into these things. Hey, we don't have our history no more. Esau got our history, man. Esau got our stuff, you know. And I wanted to show this too, right through the spirit. You got shields and bucklers, man. Now, a buckler was a smaller shield. It's on the go. You know, something you get by. You get warfare, you're fighting, you pull up your buckler, and then you got the shield. Okay. So you got a shield and a buckler, man. Right. So the most high put it on our spirit for us to have right. These Edomites like geeks. But they look so like homoerotic, man, when they do stuff, man. But it's the Greek nature. But yeah, man, you know, we had bucklers. We had bucklers, man. We had a lot of different things, man. You have to get into the warfare. You know, you gotta get into the war. I do want to get a couple more precepts and close out through the spirit for sake of time. Um, I might do a part 2 tonight. Go through the spirit, I'm gonna pull up this other video I got. I got another video I want to go into and some more of the history over time, get into the Exodus, get into a lot of different things. So I wanna start getting more into the like yeah, I want to get more into the more into the Israelite, warfare, a lot of the different things that happened, who won, etc. A lot of different things. So this is a good, quick video through the spirit. Let me get these closing precepts, man. Let's get these closing precepts going. So yeah, we see the mighty spirit of our forefathers, man. I want to get this in 1 Samuel 30. First Samuel. Spoke of 1 Samuel 30. Start at verse 15. So happened when all the Amalekites took everything. The Most High said, "You're going to come back and take everything." We're gonna see what happens. So this 1 Samuel chapter 30, and let's start at 30, right? Yeah, 30. 30, and let's start at 14. And we made an invasion upon the south of the Kerethites, most which belonged to Judah, and upon the south of Caleb, and we burned Zilkad with fire. So he confessed and said unto him, "Canst thou bring me down to this company?" And he said, "Swear unto me by God that thou would neither kill me, or deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this company." And when he had brought him down, behold, they spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of the land of Judah. So, look at Esau. They said, we got the woman, we got the beautiful one. They love adultery. They love fornication. We got that beautiful woman. We're going to do things. They plan to do things probably. With a perverted mind. The Most High said, let's just any more wicked person, it's like let's say any fornicator like Esau, man. Greatly paraphrase. Hebrews 12:16. It says, and David smote them from the twilight even unto the evening of the next day. Hold on. And David smote them. He fought them. He beat them. He smitten them from the twilight even unto the evening of the next day. That's almost 24 hours, man. We don't know. That's maybe 23 hours, 22. Hey, man, they was fighting through the night, man. Even until the evening of next day. And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. So everybody got put to flight, and said these 400 Edomites that luckily through the spirit, not through the spirit, but luckily they got the damn camels. It says, and David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives. And there was nothing lacking them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil, nor anything that had they taken to them. David recovered all. So he recovered all of it. We can keep reading, but nevertheless, through the spirit, the Most High allowed David to come back and take everything at Amalek. I don't want to go all the way into this. This is another context, but nevertheless, the Most High put the spirit on our forefathers to make things happen, man. To make things happen, he encouraged himself and he recovered everything through the Spirit. All right, so I'm gonna cover more of this. I'm gonna go more into the kings. I'm gonna pull another video, get some more precepts. But through the Spirit, Lord willing, all Israel is blessed. Lord willing, this is a great edifying video to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Lord willing, this makes sense, man. But get into the history, man. I gotta pull it. I'm gonna do Lord willing tonight, probably at 10. I'm gonna get into some of Esau's formations as well. And I mean, I can pull it up real quick. Let's pull it up. All right, let's pull it up. So I want to get more. I'm gonna do part, it's gonna be a little series. But now a great guy is this guy.
One of the most difficult tactics of the ancient
Like you is this guy, Kings and Generals. Now, this Edomite, he gets into it. He gives us the visuals. Right now, it's talking about the Battle of Gaugamela.
Introducing Grammarly.
Right.
one of the most difficult tactics of the ancient
Trying to make your money. Get your money. We get it. You need your money. But Lord, man, all these ads, man. You click on something, it's an ad automatically. All right, is that sharing? All right, guy. So let's get into some of Esau's battle formations. Now, again, we don't really know all the formations we did because we can't pull it all out. We don't know. The Most High might not put the Spirit on our forefathers to do it. We don't know why it wasn't all the way written. Now we have a story describing it, but we don't know exactly have an image of it played out. We don't have an image and stories of how it exactly played out with Judah Maccabees. Okay, we have records. So now with the heathen, we can see the heathen military tactics. And we know through the Spirit, a lot of the heathens get stuff from us, but also, they do have a blessing of the sword. Now, if you know somebody has the blessing of the sword, which is Esau, you want to learn from Esau. To a degree, you want to see how he handles battles and fights and things of that sort. Hey, Esau will teach you about MMA, teach you about damn kickboxing and BJJ and all these different type of formations, man. Esau will teach you that karate and Muay Thai and boxing and all these different things, man. Esau knows how to get down. They know weapons, they know guns, they know a lot of things. So to a degree, you want to learn, like say you even learn something from a fool and kind of observe Esau and take that and make it holy and use it to your advantage, man. Don't let these heathens get one up on you. You live your whole life saying, I don't need to know how to box. I'm an Israelite. Yeah, I mean, yeah, brother, but if you was to get in a fight with an Edomite, unless the Lord is with you, but pray to God you're not going off, he gonna whoop your ass, man. So ultimately, don't think these heathen are just weak. Now, of course, we're above them, but don't think they're just anybody. It can be mighty heathens. Alexander the Great was crazy, man. This guy, he was a young general, conquered damn a greater portion of the earth in about 11 years, man. Naked as Greek, man. He did it because he had a great commanding spirit. The most I put it on him, and it was prophecy in the book of Apocrypha for that to happen. By the way, but let's put this up.
era, it required a genius commander and a well-trained, properly armed force with the ability to brave insurmountable pressure. Alexander the Great used this move during his masterpiece, the Battle of Gaugamela.
So let's see how he sets it up. So boom, right? We have Darius III, right? And we have his platoon. We have the immortals right here, and we have all the horsemen right here, and we have some of the infantry here. We have the phalanx, the Greek. See, you got to get into the historicity, man. You got to get into the historicity. Let's pull up the phalanx, right? You need to know what the phalanx is, right? Phalanx is a very famous Greek formation. Right, it's a very famous Greek formation in war. And the phalanx was used by the Greeks. Okay, let's read the definition. Phalanx is a compact rectangular military formation historically composed of heavily armored infantry, hoplites in ancient Greece and Macedonia, who fought with interlocking shields and long spears. It signifies a closely knit group of people or an autonomy, the bones of the fingers or toes. So it's an image of that, right? Look at this, man. Now, for you Black Hebrew Israelites, man, right? You jakes who don't know who you are, right? You guys are lost in the world. Hey man, what you gonna do without a gun? Because I mean, let's be honest. Your gun might jam, things might happen. What you gonna do against this? How are you gonna fight this? I mean, look at the formation. I'm not gonna lie, it's an amazing formation. It was very smart. It was very crafty. You know, it was very crafty. Also, I lost my audio. It's madness. Lost my damn audio. Let me see if I can. Lord willing, through the spirit, people can still hear me. But yeah, the Phalanx, man. The Macedonian Phalanx, man. You had this what set up, man. You had different spears coming out, shields tightly knit. Hey, this was hard as hell to beat back in the day. You couldn't just beat this. Look at this. How do you attack this as an ancient forefather? And they was naked. They was naked as well. How the hell do you attack this? Right. So it was extremely, extremely smart to do this, and it was mighty, even to a degree. This right here, and this was hard to beat. Now you had a infantry amount called the Immortals. Now this is extremely prideful, man. But you had Persians. They had their own infantry, man. They had a great elite class of warriors called the Immortals. Okay, the Persian Immortals were an elite 10,000 strong heavy infantry unit of the Achaemenid Empire, serving as both the king's personal bodyguard and shock troops. Okay, so these were the king's personal bodyguards. Okay, they were shock troops. What they were called Immortals because any casualty was immediately replaced, keeping their numbers constant. So you had a quote unquote people called the Immortals, man. Right? The Immortals. Now, I don't know if they had a specific formation. You know, we gotta look into the formation. They could have had a specific formation. Let's see if they had a formation. And that's why I said I want to kind of get more to you. They don't have a specific formation. They're very heavily. Well, this is, I mean, you know, Spartans. But nevertheless, they was heavily armed. All right, they was heavily armed. They wore this type of mask. You even see that in the movie 300, where they had a spear. They had, you know, Persians was pretty good at a couple of things, but the Immortals. Okay, so we have a great, you know, great fade going on, a great fade of the heathen versus heathen, right, right. Some Edomites, yeah, y'all right, but nevertheless, right. So we had a phalanx, and we have the mortals going on. So that's the two top infantry, the two top classes. You have the horsemen, and you have Alexander. Alexander is very crafty right here. Right? He sees, of course, you have to get into it. You gotta get binoculars. You're not binoculars, you gotta have some type of tool to see far, see their formation. And what he did was he brought out his troops. He'd have his phalanx here, two on each side, four on each side, had his horsemen on the side, and he purposely left a gap right here on purpose as bait, right, to get these Immortals to come in and get smashed. It was very smart. Look at me. I mean, look, you get into the comments. Esau, get into the comments. Hold on, there's nobody like Alexander. But nevertheless, let's see how a military commander got down. So he's smart. He said, you know, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna fight these guys, I'm gonna take my time with these small fries. I'm gonna leave a gap. So he thought that gap, and he thought, damn, right there, that was a weakness. He thought he messed up. He thought something happened. And you got to get into the war terminology. Engage, disengage. Hey man, so they was fighting a small troop, disengaged, saw the Immortals fighting against the Phalanx. So we're gonna go and smash Darius. And Darius, remember, he used the Immortals as his bodyguards. So hey man, they went to work on him. They said, hold on, we're gonna disengage Alexander, brung two troops, some of his mighty men, and they was whooping Darius' ass. You know, hey, Persians, they could not mess with the Greeks. They couldn't. Sorry. You know, put them to flight plenty of times. Because why? They had formations. They had very strong different formations, military tactics. So that was the thing, man. Greeks didn't have a bunch of numbers, but hey, the Persians had a lot of numbers, but it's not all about numbers. It's about tactics, your brain, your mind. What do you do? What do you do when things get hard, man? So that's why I said, through the spirit, man, hey, it gets real deep, man. Oh, Slovakia. Slovakia. Hold on, hold on. But yeah, it gets real deep with the military, man, with the war. I want to pull this up. You got the U formation. All right, so let's show this. Oh, this is also fair use. Now, and a lot of people, you come real normal. Jake, you play it's games you can play on this too. You can play war games. I used to play Age of War. Hey man, it's hey man, war is very it's very exciting. It's amazing. Look at how he set it up. Most of you Jakes, they're gonna see this formation and say, yeah, that's better. Why the hell did he do that? So weak, that's a spot. Hey, you gotta be a couple steps ahead in war, man. You gotta have these things, set up, man. These formations set up, these things set up. Look at that. That's why it was a big deal. Why? Because you don't want them to come and overtake you on the right and the left, and then you can't flee. You're in a circle. You're in for a bloodbath. So, hey, when you get too much pressure on them sides, you got to get the hell up out of there. Now, the thing about that is you're middle military, and these guys got to be some elite men. They got to. Because that pressure, and you will hear Esau talk about that. That pressure right there, that can cause if the Persians were to break through that, they'd be in for some trouble. So that line, you gotta hold that line, man. You gotta hold that line and damn endure until it's time. War is spiritual, man. So yeah, you see that failed. So yeah, you got the crescent formation, the U formation. Um, you got another one. I wanted to pull it up. No. Hey man, so you got a lot of tactics, man. You got the hit and run tactic. That's genius, man. That's hey, bro. Hey, that's genius warfare. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's genius. It's very genius. You know. Yeah, man. It was another one I had looked up. I want to look up. It's called the Crescent. We're gonna wrap up after this, man. The Crescent. You had the Crescent formation. Invert. This is it right here. Inverted. Right, you got. Hey, man, you got to get into this, man. Hey, what you gonna do when Joel 2 come on the scene? You think your Howard Shah is not gonna have armies and things in order? You think the Most High is not gonna have things set up, man? Have lines and ranks and things that happen, man. And these things gonna happen, man. You got to hit and run for it. Hey, bro, you're gonna have to know what's going on. If Yahweh Shah say do an inverted crescent, you know, I'm not saying you're gonna do a heathen tactic, but the most I said do an inverted crescent, you got to get in there. What the hell is that? What is that inverted crescent? You don't think Yahweh Shah don't know what's going on? The most, and really, to be honest, the Most High gave this spirit to the heathens. You think the Most High ain't dealing with formations? The Most High deals with order in all places, man. The heavens, bro. The Most High. Thank God for this truth, bro. He got all these. He got so much knowledge. Knowledge is in all these things. You got war formations, battle formations, infantry. It's so many different things. But let's finish this up. So, right. So, what is he doing? He right here got both sides weaker on purpose. Okay. He's trying to bake them on purpose. A formation is set up a certain way. Right. So again, you don't want to keep you really don't want to let the enemy get behind you or behind you on the side of you. Because guess what? When they entrap you, you can't go nowhere. So you want to make sure you're holding your lines, you're keeping things in order and set. So, right, let's go back to that because I want to make it. So they tried to attack it. It was reversed. They seen them send some of their platoon. They came and pulled out the flanks. And once they get behind, it's over. How you gonna fight both sides? You can't. The numbers gotta go down. So that's why it's amazing. You know, this. I ain't gonna lie. I love this, man. This is great warfare. Look how that was genius. Who came up with that? You got to get into this history, man. Look at that, man. Genius. You keep pressing, we're gonna flip it on you and then close you in. Then he sent, but what? The cavalry to come in. Bro, genius. So again, that was cold right there. Hannibal was getting in the works, man. So ultimately through the spirit, we covered a lot of history. I'm gonna cover a part two. Lord Israel was edified, and a lot of the information. I'm gonna try to get some more information to come back out with some more history. All right, I want to say shalom to the elect, shalom to the 12 tribes, man. All right, you got damn. I don't know who this is, man, but yeah. Death to Amalek, man, and death to Iran, man. And nevertheless, it was for fair use. Shalom to the 12 tribes. Lord wouldn't allow us to be in the spirit, stay on fire, and be pure. Right? Shalom. I love you all. Kwam Yasha Allah. Shalom.